Welcome to the American Dota League. I'm MY John. This is the final game of the season. It happens to be the third place match, Denial Esports versus Team Dignitas. It's a best of 5 series to determine who will take home the rest of the money. Of course, if you missed it, spoiler, the other day for the conclusion of, or the winner, of the American Dota League, it was Liquid taking down EG in 3 straight games, dominating that best of 3 series with really impressive play across the boards. Of course, both these teams had an opportunity to make their way into those finals, but Denial really struggled against Evil Geniuses, dropping 3 games in a row, and Dignitas brought Liquid to a Game 5, but were unable to close in on Liquid as they made their way to the finals and eventually to win them. As of late, Denial have been a side that has cooled off a little bit. They've been struggling, especially against North American talent. We've seen them drop series to Dignitas, Liquid, and EG, and they just don't look particularly strong against them. Dignitas, on the flip side, has fallen out of the defense playoffs and a couple other competitions they're doing a little bit better in, but they still need to find that even ground where they're more consistent. So this is an opportunity for both teams to really prove something here. As we see the picking stage already underway, let's look at the bans first. Denial decided to ban out the Wisp and the Bat Rider. Meanwhile, Dignitas take out the Treant and the Naga Siren. Pretty solid bans all around. Naga Siren making her way up to the 1-2 position is reasonable. It's a hero that Denial do like to use pretty frequently on Smash, so you understand that, but it does give Denial the Ewocopter with their first pick, and they followed up with a Rubik, so pretty good opening from them in terms of heroes they're comfortable with. On the other side, Dignitas with the Darkseer, Lifestealer, another couple of heroes they've been using a lot more recently. Lifestealer, sometimes in the hands of Universe in an offlane capacity, but with the Darkseer in the mix, we'll have to wait and see just how that's going to play itself out, because those are 2 offlane potential heroes, the way Dignitas have been playing them as of late. Meanwhile, back to the banning phase, we see Denial taking out the Leshrac. Dignitas removing the Bane. So not having the Bane in the pool, of course, one of the easy responses to the Lifestealer through that ultimate, the Fiend's Grip, able to hold him down in place and cope with him effectively, but that will not be an option moving forward from Denial. I'd be inclined to think Denial are looking for a jungler here. Maybe want to go a passive lane. They tend to do that pretty frequently. Heroes like Chen come to mind. Maybe even an Enigma, since that does work against Lifestealer when he's in rage with a black hole. That wouldn't be a bad idea either. That also gives you some AoE synergy between him and Gyrocopter. So both options that are still available on the board for Denial. Meanwhile, the other ban from Dignitas is the Alchemist. So they take out another carry. Smash, of course, known to play his Alchemist middle very effectively. That will not be here for him for his picking. They do still have the DK available. They could go something like the Templar Assassin as well. It depends what they want to throw in that middle lane. Storm Spirit banned out, so Dignitas cannot get a Spirit Bomb going with the Lifestealer plus Storm, which seems to be a reasonable ban as well. But this leaves Puck in the pool. I already said Dragon Knight. And, of course, Queen of Pain as some prominent middle options that both teams could go for here shortly. We see Denial sitting on their 3rd pick, and they're going to pick up the Jakiro. So Jakiro is a hero that Dignitas would opt for so frequently. In fact, picking up the Darkseer and not the Jakiro is very rare for them. They usually go for that 1-2, but Lifestealer is a hero that they do value pretty highly, so you can understand them interchanging those. The other alternative they go for instead of Jakiro is Leshrac. So Denial clearly have some inclination of what Dignitas like to do most of the time and have both of those heroes secured or banned out. But Dignitas do get the Visage, a hero that Way Too Sexy plays very well, and I think I've seen Fog play it from time to time as well. Tremendous effect. Hero gives you options for aggressive lanes. Denial pick up the Dragon Knight with that 4th pick, so will probably be a Smash Dragon Knight in the middle lane, but Dignitas still have the option to respond here. They can pick up a Puck who has a favorable matchup. They can get a Queen of Pain who has a favorable matchup against the DK, both of which would be really good options here before Denial is able to take one of those out of the pool. And looking at Denial's side, they still need an off-laner, so there's still Clockwork available and Nature's Prophet in the pool. So these are 2 options that Dignitas might look out to ban after this pick once we get into the final bans. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Once again, I'm MY John. This is the American Dota League. This is the 3rd place match, our conclusion of the season. We want to thank everyone that's been tuning in throughout the entirety and have been great supports and fans for the tournament. Denial Esports versus Team Dignitas is going to be a best of 5. We're going to see who can get to 3 first. I mentioned before, Denial have struggled against the top 3 North American teams in Dignitas, EG, and Liquid, but this is their chance to kind of rebound. It's surprising because they do have success against some of the European teams in the other competitions. Think about them playing Fnatic EU in the Big Point battle. They were able to take them down, of course, 2-0 in a best-of-3 series, which is surprising because they're definitely dealing with higher latency issues going overseas to Europe than they are dealing with the North Americans. So it is a little bit surprising, but the playstyles could definitely factor into that. Nyx Assassin is picked up from Dignitas here, another hero they've been using very often, and they do have options for the Nyx Nyx Bomb, which of course is really potent once Nyx is able to get some levels. Also, having that mana drain against some of these heroes that are low mana pools is going to be pretty nice later on in the game. And Nyx overall is just a nice hero because Spike Carapace before BKBs are in play is really frustrating. Now we're looking for these final bans. Denial are probably going to try and ban out one of these middle options. What would they rather see, a Puck or a Queen of Pain? Of course, there's still room for Dignitas to go for one of the melee middle laners. They could pick up something like perhaps the Templar Assassin if they want to, who's another good matchup against Dragon Knight. But I think if they want to dominate that lane, then you could even throw an OD into the pool. OD, Puck, or Queen of Pain, and there's the OD removal because he by far is the most devastating matchup. And there's the Nature's Prophet ban. So I mentioned before, Dignitas either going to ban out Nature's Prophet or Clockwork. They take out the Prophet. Will it be a Clockwork pick for Denial, or do they go for something like the Bounty Hunter? We have seen Mihawk, of course, play both of them pretty frequently. Earlier on, Denial's hot streak, they played Bounty Hunter pretty often, but they seem to veer away from that a little bit. I do like having the Clockwork really with a Gyrocopter because of the spacing it gives you in team fights. If you can trap off the Lifestealer and sacrifice the Clockwork, that's fine. Just keep him away from the Gyrocopter so he can get off his flat cannon. It gives you a good opportunity for a nice call down in the middle of the fights. So I wouldn't mind that. They could go for the sacrifice lane and just pick something like an Enigma here. I wouldn't really expect that, though. I think they're going to try and at least contest it because there's potential for Dignitas to run an aggressive tri-lane here. It may not be the best option. And the other option, of course, is Lone Druid. Lone Druid with the Entangle can work pretty well against Lifestealer. The only thing it does for your team is now you have 3 heroes that are pretty reliant on farm. Dragon Knight not as much so, but assuming one of these strong mids is going to come out against him, he's already going to be behind. If it was kind of a wash middle lane, like a Dragon Knight versus a Naga Siren, Dragon Knight versus Alchemist, then sure, picking the Lone Druid would seem reasonable. But if Lone Druid is up against a tri-lane, which very well can happen, and Dragon Knight's up against the mismatch in the middle lane, you might be losing 2 lanes off the bat here. So this could be a difficult position for them coming out of the draft. We'll see if Dignitas try and jump on it. Templar Assassin, Queen of Pain, and Puck all available, I believe. Yep. Not missing any of those right now. I think, looking at what they have so far, they're lacking disables a little bit. Nyx Assassin has a couple. Visage with the Familiars. Puck might be the best choice. It will give you the Dream Coil, but they pick up a Mirana, which means this Nyx Assassin could very well make his way middle. An interesting decision here. Actually, snaking going on the darks here. So they're really going to rock the boat a little bit here in game 1. I'm not sure this gives them the easy road to dominating the middle lane. That could have been pretty effective, but they're going to have an aggressive tri-lane, it looks like now. And they're going to solo this Lifestealer against the Lone Druid, which is a pretty decent matchup. So they're shaking up their lanes early on here. They're going to try and get that 2-1 lane victory, I suppose. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in once again. I'm John. This is the American Dota League third place match, best of 5 series between Dignitas and Denial Esports. We're about to get going. Just waiting for everyone to pick up their heroes, and we'll get in on the action.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
So snaking up on that Darkseer right now. Lifestealer on AUI, and Universe playing the Mirana. We do see a pause coming out immediately from the Dire side, asking for a second, but that gives us an opportunity to go over the teams and who is playing what. So we're looking at the Radiant team right now, Dignitas, the heavy favorites in this game. I definitely feel comfortable saying that. We have Snaking on the Darkseer, Universe on Mirana, AUI 2000 on Lifestealer, Way Too Sexy playing the Visage, and Fogged on the Nyx Assassin. And I say they're the heavy favorites just because of recent results, really. In the ADL, the final match of the regular season. They took down Denial pretty convincingly. We've also seen them beat them in some series in other tournaments. So it's not really a knock on Denial. They're going to have to step up their game here and really prove something to the world in terms of their ability to compete with North American top 3, because they definitely have been lacking in that department. But let's introduce them. On the dire side, Denial Esports, we have Smash playing the Dragonite. Iwo will be playing his Iwo Copter. Masuko on Jakiro. Mihawk playing the Lone Druid, and Misko on the Rubik. We'll see, this is going to be an aggressive tri-lane. They're going to rotate the Darkseer middle. So Darkseer versus Dragonite is going to end up being a wash lane. They're not punishing that lane particularly hard. I think unless Smash plays a little bit too risky, he should get his CS there. So that should come out pretty even in terms of middle lane matchup. And then the bottom lane, if it is a 1v1, then AUI can do pretty well. But he walks into the aggression here. Ice Path is going to catch him. EO's charging up, but they have no follow-up because Misko wasn't there with the telekinesis, and AUI not selecting a skill probably would have been safe either way because he could have selected up that Rage for his first ability. We'll see if they rotate this or if they try and go the aggressive tri-lane. For Denial right now, the better decision is to leave a tri-lane down here and sack top because middle lane will be a wash. If they bring their tri-lane up top against a Mirana tri-lane, you can definitely be punished heavily. So we'll see if that's what they're going to do. It looks like Mihawk is making his way up towards the top. And the whole point of Mirana in a tri-lane is to get kills because she, of course, needs a lot more farm than other carries to excel when you get to stages of the mid-game and even to the late game. So if they're able to deprive them of kills, then certainly they can have some success. And down bottom, they can apply pressure, maybe even push the lane in. And that's what they're doing right now. The tri-lane is staying down here. The haste rune is in the river. They're trying to figure out who's going to get it. Give it to Misko, maybe. They have a fair deal of disables as well, a good amount of damage output with the Rocket Barrage. Because Misko, of course, telekinesis, and Ice Path we already saw once from Jakiro. Masuko's going to take the haste rune and rotate towards the middle lane. There are supports here, so the supports are full room right now for Dignitas. Not sure where they want to stay. Mirana is relatively safe in that top lane alone. It's a horrible matchup if it's Lone Druid versus Mirana, so I'd expect those supports to get back up there sooner than later. We have seen Universe beat matchups on the basis of individual talent before. Thinking back to Universes versus Demon, I think it was Mirana versus a Bounty Hunter or something, one of those lanes. That certainly is just an outplay on his behalf, so it's definitely a possibility. So we look at this top lane, but AUI has been left up here. So this is the matchup they wanted. So it's a full rotation from the Radiant side, and here's the tri-lane now matched up against this. The only advantage that Denial may have is that telekinesis ability, being able to displace somebody, get a better vantage point. But if they get hit by an arrow, it's going to get ugly. As we see AUI already applying pressure on the top lane onto Mihawk, but the return pressure is there. This lane is fairly even. I think it slightly favors the Lone Druid, but definitely can get away with picking up some CS if you're that lifestealer. Masuko has come up here to pull for the lane as well, so that's definitely going to help the Lone Druid out. But the dual lane down bottom, if Fogged picks up on this, if they decide once they realize the pull is happening top, they'll know there's only 2 heroes down here, and they certainly can go for one of these kills. It will just take 1 arrow, really, to set up an early game kill because of the amount of damage that Visage outputs. Looking at last hits, you can see middle lane already going really well for snaking on that Darkseer. He just gets last hits, and he also rotates to the jungle, kills off the easy camp to just bolster CS even further. Comes back into the lane. Smash does have his bottle now. We're expecting to see a lot of bottle crowing. Darkseer's going to get the early rune control by picking up a regeneration in the river. This lane's bullied out. You can see the fake animation from Nyx Assassin as Gyrocopter's pushed all the way off. Looking at his CS, he has 6-1. Mirana only 3-0 so far. So he did do surprisingly well considering there's only 2 heroes down here on the side of Denial. And top lane, they should be winning because they're committing that extra support. It's actually Mihawk down by 1 CS right now. So despite the pulling, despite everything else, Mihawk isn't really dominating this lane quite yet. You can see him putting hits on the bear. He does hit the bear pretty hard. Bottom lane, they're converging, and an arrow, they're going to get the first blood. Ewo going down there in favor of Dignitas, and huge carry kill early on here. So much for that going well for the side of Denial. It gets turned around in an instant. Middle lane snaking, applying pressure with the Iron Chill onto Smash. And it looked like one of the supports had rotated out. No, Fog had died in that exchange as well. It was just a follow-up kill. The secondary kill, Rubik getting that. Not enough from the side of Denial, but there should not be trades really going on down here because of the fact that it was 3 versus 2. So interesting result for Denial on this bottom lane. They definitely will take that as a positive, despite the fact they lost their carry, just because of the amount of resources invested in doing so. Now Jakiro comes down here, and he's level 3, so did pretty well for himself pulling on the top lane. Sentry dropped by Fogged. He's trying to deward a little bit. Gonna get hit by the telekinesis. Thrown back into the ice path. Rocket Barrage dealing a whole lot of damage. There's no spike Carapace, and he's gonna go down. Another kill for Denial on the bottom lane as they rotate in that third hero. The twin-headed dragon comes in. Instant impact player. Able to get that ice path off on the back end of telekinesis and get a nice kill for the Peruvians. Mid lane Snaking continues to CS at an extraordinary rate. He's 31-1. Now, taking into consideration, he has killed the easy camps once or twice already, so that's going to skew him by probably a margin of 7 or 8. Top lane, though, AUI is going to go on top of Mihawk. Mihawk trying to retreat here, taking a whole lot of damage from the Lifestealer, and no Boots versus Boots and Orb of Venom is giving a huge advantage to AUI, but Mihawk will escape through the trees. He's just going to try and kill off the bear, though. AUI will get so much money for this bear if he lets it die. He's going to pop off the rage. A couple more hits would do the job. He's going to turn back to the hero. There's no open wounds available, and he's just going to have to back up in the end. Either of those kills would have netted AUI a tremendous lead in this lane, but he comes away with neither of them. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, keeping an eye on the CS, it's still 7-4 on this Mirana, so she's still not doing too well. Mirana definitely here that wants to get that CS up in a big way early on here, but the other two lanes are going pretty well. Let's see, 18 for 7 on Lifesteal in the top lane, so he's up by 8 over the lone Druid, and mid lane, of course, Snaking with his dominance. So it's 2-1 lanes right now for Dignitas. The bottom lane, 2-1 kill advantage for Denial and a little bit of CS advantage. They're going for a third kill as they find way too sexy over by the pole. They're going to jump on him, Rocket Barrage, and a rocket to follow. That should be enough to net the kill. There it goes. Gyrocopter picking it up. Ewo getting another kill, a second kill of the game right now. And they're just going to mosey on in again. Not afraid, running into Universe. Ice Path not going to be close to connecting on anybody as the leap was in play from Mirana, jumping away from combat. The Courier gets himself into a little bit of danger, but he's just fine rotating out. And as Lifestealer continues to get more levels, this matchup should become more favorable for him on the top lane. There is Entangle in play, which can definitely throw that askew, but he can output a whole lot of damage. Arrow's going to fly. It's late, though. Not synchronized with the stun from Nyx Assassin. There's a Grave Chill as well, but Nyx Assassin's stun duration is very short early on. He's one of those heroes like Lion that you have to get levels to scale up his stun duration. So take that into consideration before you criticize Universe for an arrow miss there. I'm sure I will. Smash in the middle lane is fighting off some creeps in the river. Snaking just going to continually apply pressure. Smash has always been a DK player that will use his ultimate every single time it is up. That's why we see him in green dragon form right now. It's not as if he was getting too much pressure on the tower. In fact, that tower has taken 0 damage. Snaking rotating to the bottom lane. We see a kill coming out for Gyrocopter. Misko is going to get followed up, killed. Visage picking that up. And is there anything else? No, that's going to be the end of it. So a TP rotation from Snaking gets him to the bottom lane. Gets him no assist. He actually wasn't a part of the kill at all. But a 1-for-1 trade down there yet again. Now 4-2 an advantage for Denial. Smash with an opportunity to finally get some damage on this middle tower, but a rotation in from Fogged will slow that down as Fogged is going to pick up a little bit of solo experience here with Snaking heading over to the jungle to clear some camps. Mihawk on the top lane took a whole lot of damage, dropping down really low, but AUI is low as well. The rotation in from Misko and the heal coming out from him as well could put AUI in a precarious situation. He has to be careful. Doesn't want to get spotted off here. He's going to go in, infest the creep, and there's all of his health right back. But Misko is still going to find him. He has no mana, so there will not be rage available. But he's still going to get away. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Dragon Knight somehow finds Nyx Assassin and gets a kill there deep beyond the Tier 1 tower. You can see the death all the way back here, and no response from Snaking. Interesting play. Unfortunately, I missed it on the camera. But all this rotation has given Universe an opportunity in the bottom lane to catch up in CS a little bit. He's still down by 10 to this Gyrocopter, who's now alone. And I feel like Dignitas really aren't taking advantage of that fact right now, knowing that the supports had roamed, seeing some of them in the middle lane. Just Grave Chill Ewo and try and get off an arrow, at least pressure him off, but he's going to back off by his own free will now as he picks up a couple more CS on the way. 3 heroes focused towards the middle lane for Denial. They're going to look for a kill on one of the targets here. Snaking runs in. He is Nodule active, but it's a bait. He gets caught out. The ice path to follow. Telekinesis still available. It's going to pull him up and toss him back. Snaking is going to go down. 6-2 kill lead for Denial. 8 minutes into this game. The first game of a best of 5 for the third place accolade in the American Dota League. Of course, some money on the line as well. In fact, a big chunk of money on the line for both of these teams. Definitely would like to take that home. And looks like Denial are doing pretty well early on. Considering the lanes, considering what they had to deal with on the side, we see Way Too Sexy getting caught by the rotation from the supports yet again. And these proactive supports from Denial Esports are getting them a whole lot of kills right now. And Universe is going to get bullied off the lane. So much time for Dignitas to try and take advantage of that solo gyrocopter, and they just weren't able to. In the middle lane, Smash is going to take some damage from Snaking. Turns around with a Dragon Tail stun. He's going to actually put some auto attacks onto Snaking. Instead, Snaking does have his mech up, so a big item completed for him. Oftentimes we criticize Darkseer for not being that big of an impact out of the middle lane, but he does get the job done in terms of CS. Mihawk on the top lane is going to get caught out. They're going to save the disables for when AUI is free from the entangle. Rotating in, Grave Chill is going to slow him. He stands almost no chance of surviving here, and there's the finishing blow from Visage in the form of a soul assumption. The Ice Path was late. Not enough to save him there. So a response for Dignitas as the kill lead is now 7-3 in favor of Denial. Let's take a look at our graphs. Early on here, we can see 1,000 gold in favor for them, 1,500 experience in favor for Denial as well. But no towers have gone down in this game, so these graphs aren't going to get too crazy unless we get more and more hero kills. Let's head over to net worth and see who's leading. Dragonite is in first. So looking at our kills, you see Smash is 1-0-1, but 54 CS. He did a good job of getting CS in the middle lane. I mentioned before the game, that's kind of a break-even lane for Dragonite versus Darkseer. You're going to get your CS. They got an added bonus by that bait kill onto Snaking, and that certainly has put him in a comfortable position. We have seen Smash's Dragonite fall off in other games previously when taking excessive pressure, and that will not happen in this game. He's going to be in a nice spot moving into the later stages of the early game, even the mid-game here, as a Tier 1 tower in the middle lane is conquered by him with that green dragon form active. But the response is top lane from Dignitas. They're working on their Tier 1, and the Tier 1 is dropping rather quickly, already down below half health. It should be taken here by Dignitas. The Gargoyles are going to drop just to kind of ward off any aggression, but there's a big response for Denial. They're going to try and get an engage here. Smash with Invisibility Rune. Going to open up on the Nyx Assassin first. Ice Path to follow up. Nyx Assassin is dead. Misko looking for a telekinesis. Snaking's going to surge into the bushes and try and TP home. He will do so successfully. The pursuit is still onto AUI. They can't get there, but Smash is going to put those corrosive breath shots onto this Tier 1 tower, and Denial may end up saving their own Tier 1 and getting a Tier 1 yet again for a 2-tower advantage, as Ewo even makes his way up to the top lane. He has an Ogre Club as inventory right now. So big defensive response from Denial. Get them yet another tower, and now we're going to start to see some big movements on this gold graph, and that should definitely influence the net worth as well as Gyrocopter, who should have really suffered in that bottom lane. I hate to harp on it, but when he's 1 versus 2 and Mirana's one of the 2, not to mention you have a support with Grave Chill, you have to punish the Gyrocopter. I know he outputs a lot of damage with that Rocket Barrage, but I think that was a mistake. And this net worth is definitely going in favor of Denial right now. I mentioned before the game, the odds are definitely in favor of Dignitas. You could see the odd makers believe that as well. They've won this matchup so many times before, even in the regular season of the ADL. So Denial with the ones that have to prove something here, and they're doing it so far in Game 1. It's a long series, but this is definitely the start they were looking for. What's the response for Dignitas? We see a smoke gang coming out from Denial again. These supports have been all over the place. 2-1-5 on Rubik, 1-0-6 on Jakiro. They've been a part of 7 kills apiece. Tremendous support play so far from Misko and Masuko. And they're going to come in towards this bottom lane. They're going to rotate in on Universe. Telekinesis to start it. Followed up with that Ice Path and an easy kill on the Mirana. And that's an underfarm Mirana at that. A safe lane farm, only 28 last hits. Universe is struggling this game. We see Snaking spotted over here. They're going to steal off the Surge, turn back towards the tower, and do some work on this. Rotation is coming in from Dragon on their side. He has the Green Dragon form available. He's going to pop it off. And with 2 dragons, 3 heads, they're going to get this Tier 1 tower. Dignitas are going to try and respond by getting this middle tower. It is down below half already. There's no glyph available. This should be a trade, but the rotation's coming for Denial again. They want to contest everything. Smash comes in. Dragon Tail stun onto Snaking. Snaking gets hit by the bare edge of the Ice Path. Lifted now with Telekinesis, and he's going to go down before he can even use his mech. And they're just going to have to leave. The tower's going to get denied unless they mess this up. There is a catapult in play, but the deny is there. So Denial are going to deprive Dignitas of a little bit extra gold there on the middle lane. Mihawk, meanwhile, does have his Midas up on the top lane. There's a rotation. We see AUI ready to come in here. AUI with not much farm. We also see Visage with his familiars. Here comes the open wounds. They turn around, though, and are backing off. They decided to leave. And there's a Roche coming out from Denial. That was really odd. They probably could have finished off Mihawk there. There was no response because Denial was in the Roche pit, but they must have assumed they were coming towards the top lane, and instead they're going to miss out on a Roche opportunity and give up a free 13.5-minute Roshan to Denial, who are already looking very solid in this game. Before having an Aegis to add to that, you can see Dragonite has finished up his Shadow Blade. Inside of 14 minutes, that is a tremendous job by Smash in this game. He's 2-0-2 with 64 CS. And take a look at our levels as well, as those are going to be pretty important. You can see both of the supports 8 and 7 versus 7 and 6, so one level advantage on the supports from Denial. And if you're Dignitas right now, you got to play it cool. You got to fall back and maybe turtle a little bit. Top lane, they're going to actually get a kill on the bear. So doing the opposite of that. Of course, Darkseer is a tremendous teamfight hero, but if he gets caught out, he wasn't able to get any of those abilities off in the last fight. We do see Invisible Nyx Assassin. Hasn't used Vendetta yet. Spotting off Misko. Misko has to walk around him. He surges because he realizes it. And good awareness from Misko, knowing that he just walked into something invisible, and there is, in fact, a Nyx Assassin in play. He should also be able to note that Vendetta gives movement through creeps, I believe. Not sure, but he should be able to know that it's actually an invisibility rune. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Someone can correct me in chat if it's not. Smash is going to find out Universe in the bottom lane. Universe with really low mana. Only has enough for one leap, but he's not even going to get the opportunity to jump out, as the Ice Path is on the back end of the Dragon Tail, enough to kill off this Mirana. And, I mean, you could see it. It's plainly obvious. Just clicking on the Mirana, looking at her items, she's sitting on treads, has a Sylvie mess top lane. Misko gets caught out here, so nice kill finally for Dignitas, who are definitely lacking in that department, now only getting their fourth of the game. But the point I was trying to get at, Mirana looking for a Basilius right now. Basilius. AY is going to find off Masuko, though, behind the tower. Iwo is coming in. He's looking for an Ice Path, has to time it off with the Rage. He doesn't get it, and instead he'll just die. Iwo was there, could have tried to throw a call down, but didn't want to use it. Maybe fearful of the fact he's going to have to defend the tower, but that's not the case. Tower goes down, and Dignitas now finding themselves a little bit better, getting 2 kills on a tower on the top lane. Certainly a good result to try and pull them back from what looks like a 7,000, 6,500 gold lead on the side of the dire side, Denial Esports. The Peruvians taking advantage of the North Americans this time around. And this could be sweet revenge for them, considering their woes versus all 3 of the top NA teams if they continue like this. However, there's still huge opportunities. We've seen what Darkseer can do in the middle of a team fight. The BKB is going to be coming up for Gyrocopter soon. It's on the courier, so it's actually going to be in play very shortly. BKB is coming out for Dragonite 2. Those are going to be 2 crucial items for them in the middle of the team fights. They won't have to worry as much about the Darkseer and him pulling them in and initiating. It even takes off most of the concern of Mirana, since her damage output's low outside of her abilities. Lifesteal will be the only legitimate source of damage, and the way the levels are coming on Denial, once Dragonite gets to 16, he's on track to do that around 20, 23, 25 minutes if the pace continues like that. Definitely going to be worried. Uh-oh. Moonlight Shadow's going to pull them in. They drop a sentry, though. They spot off Snaking. The cooldown's going to be enough. Snaking, once again, unable to do anything. Universe in the middle of the cooldown. He's going to drop as well. Fog comes in, but he's going to be punished. It looks like way too sexy. He's just barely surviving on the back end. AUI comes in. He's working on Misko. Misko's going to die. Smash is really low on health. He's going to Shadow Blade. And now they're in pursuit of AUI 2000, trying to catch up with the bear. There's the Dragon Tail stun. Can they get an entangle here as well? It looks like they may not even need it, as he's going to toggle his armlet on and off to try and stay alive from the back end. The bolt of the Gargoyle Gold is going to go to Smash, and he invests inside of the range creep, and there's a wall as Snaking comes in. Dragonite does get to kill a Nyx Assassin, though, however, and now AUI pops out of that creep. He's taking a whole lot of damage and is entangled. Dragon Tail stun, that's enough to finish him off. Snaking may drop for the second time here, as Denial are going hard, but no, he's just barely going to make it out. And a huge team fight for Denial just started because of one Sentry Ward dropped, probably for counter-warding purposes. And it just caught all of Dignitas and a Moonlight Shadow walking towards them. And they're like, hey, let's just throw the call down an Ice Path and kill them. And Iwo is going to come in here. He's going to pop out the flat cannon very confidently because he does have that Aegis, but he's going to lose it. just from a vacuum and a couple of extra abilities, so it is slightly a shame, but he better use it than lose it. Arrow follow-up. He's going to set up a potential secondary kill on Ewo here, and he's going to pop out the BKB and rotate out. They do get a kill on Marana, though. The bear trying to chase down Snaking will not find him. It's going to get pulled back, and Ewo will survive for the time being. No, on the back end, Nyx Assassin's going to find him with a Vendetta and kill him off. Smash Invisible cannot get out of vision now. He's actually going to die as well. There was a sentry down from both teams. You can see sentries all over the place. Look at this area. My, oh my. And we see the fight still continuing. An arrow thrown by Rubik, I believe, connects onto AUI to stop his pursuit from coming out. But in the end, Dignitas do equalize that pretty well, taking down the Gyrocopter as well as the Dragonite, taking down the Gyrocopter twice at that. So 17-9. Much better position. Perhaps Denial getting a little bit greedy, trying to move on to a tier 2 right after that team fight, considering there were buybacks. They knew Darkseer was alive. Ewo kind of tossed the Aegis away for no real gain. Now we see an invisible Jakiro looking to place some wards down here on the bottom lane. AUI continues to look for his farm. He's going to go for Assange. Apparently, he has the Ogre Club as well as a Belt of Strength in his inventory. So maybe going to go for the Sanjin Yasha. Doesn't have drums, so he's not going to be the fastest lifestealer we've ever seen, but maybe going to go for those after, or maybe even go for a Heaven's Halberd instead. With the VKBs up, I don't know if that would be the best idea. Probably going to be a Sanjin Yasha. Smash coming invisible. Dragon Tail stun onto AUI. There's going to be follow-up with a rocket. Nyx Assassin gets a kill on Rubik in the meanwhile, but AUI looking like he's in a lot of trouble. Is going to come towards the creeps. The Ice Path is going to be a little bit too early. AUI does have Infest available. Is going to jump in one of the range creeps of the Dire. And that should be that. Should give plenty of time for Dignitas to do something else. And in fact, look at this. It's buying time for them on the middle lane to push out this tower, and they're just going to have to leave him alone. So a failed gank attempt on the part of Denial on the bottom. They cannot cope with that Infest. The Ice Path was a little bit too early. That could have been the straw that broke AUI's back, but didn't work out for them that time. And they are able to apply pressure to Tier 2 in the middle lane. They bring off the wave on the Tier 2 in the top lane. This is important for Dignitas to regain some map control, and you can see their vision is really strong right now. Despite the fact that it looks like Denial have a good lead. Ewo gets vacuumed in, though. Arrow's going to fly. He pops off the BKB, turns around, uses the call down. He's going to try and kill off some of those gargoyles. Instead, Fogged is going to get pulled back into the fight with the telekinesis. He's going to go ahead and pop off the... Nope, the Moonlight Shadow gets him out. Snaking gets caught again. He's going to drop for what must be the fourth time. Yeah, the fourth time that Darkseer drops. And he had his mech in, I don't know, 8 minutes. I mean, before 10 minutes, I'm pretty sure. And now he doesn't have anything on top of that mech. He only has a Staff of Wizardry. I mean, this has always been one of my top concerns with a middle Darkseer. Where's his impact? Where's his place? Mihawk, though, is going to walk into a death. And now they're going to get a follow-up kill onto Misuko because a brilliant arrow. AUI doesn't have rage, so he gets lifted and tossed off for a second. But now everything's falling apart for Denial. They lose Misuko. Misko is going to be pursued here. A couple more hits should do the job on him. An offensive leap available in 1 second if they need it, but they won't. He's dead, and Denial are now feeding a couple of kills. There's no other way to put it. They're walking into dangerous territory. If we go to the Dire vision, that's Radiant, that's Dire, they have no vision here. Mihawk has no right to step into this jungle without proper vision. Just one sentry down. Meanwhile, the Radiant vision is superb. That's what I was trying to talk about before those kills occurred. Look at this ward placement. The whole map is lit up, despite the fact that they have less towers. So really tremendous play from them. We'll go back to whole map vision. Once again, I want to take a moment to thank everyone that's tuning in. This is the American Dota League third place matchup to finish in the money. Dignitas versus Denial Esports. Best of 5 series. I'm MY John, your host. I appreciate your viewership and your support of the ADL all season. This is looking like it's going to be a pretty interesting series. I mean, Dignitas had no right winning any fights there, considering how far they had fallen behind, but they're able to do it, and they pull back on the gold just a little bit. It wasn't a huge margin, but certainly Denial dropped the ball. They walked 3 heroes into them, one by one, they marched in, and now Dignitas have a legitimate shot to continue that momentum and get back into this. It's going to take a lot of farm, though. Marana requires a ton of farm to deal damage, especially against a hero like a Dragon Knight, who is so tanky. Lone Druid, who is so tanky. I mean, it's going to be an uphill struggle for him. It's all going to really rest on AUI 2000's Lifestealer, and AUI knows the feeling. being the sole core, the sole carry of this team, because oftentimes they used to run only one main core. So it's not going to be that much pressure for him as he looks for Assange and Yasha. Roshan's going to respawn in 30 seconds. Masuko's going to gun towards the middle lane, drop down a ward, so a little bit better vision coming out here. There's still none on the north side of the map, only a little bit on the south side of the map, but that's where Roshan's going to spawn momentarily, so it's pretty good. Gyrocopter's going to farm off the Ancients here. He has a Helm of Dominator, allow him to do it pretty quickly. There's no items on the Courier, though, so his farm is falling off as well. Dragon Knight's farm looks pretty strong. We can see he's the lead in the net worth at 10,000. Gyrocopter's in second, and there's a decent margin between those two and the Lifesteal, about 2,000 golds for either. And there's an engage on the back end. Misko's going to get caught off here. Arrow flies in, catches the bear, and an early pickoff is really going to slow down this Roche attempt for Denial, you'd think at least. This missile's going to get taken down before it can reach any targets. They're continuing on. They're not actually hurting him, so I'm not sure what they're doing in the pit. AUI gets caught by a Dragon Tail stun. Moonlight Shadow's going to fly to try and keep everyone relatively safe. AUI comes back in. A good vacuum's going to catch two. Smash pops off the BKB. Ewo pops off the BKB, and they try and disengage here. These are pretty big BKB charges. It's snaking in pursuit. They're going to try and catch up, and they do! They catch up to Ewo. He's going to go down. Mihawk's the next target. There's an open wounds in 8 seconds, but Mihawk's not even going to be able to juke his way out of this. It doesn't seem, at the very least, gets caught by that stun, and now Smash can do nothing but retreat as Dignitas have an opportunity to try and steal this Roshan. And a really messy fight. I'm not sure if there was proper vision. You can see there's a sentry up here and up here, but I don't know. It seemed like Denial were split a little bit. They had one person in the pit, a couple other uphill, and were just caught off guard. Misko getting caught right before the fight really even started put them at a disadvantage. And now 20 seconds on the clock until that lone Druid is back, 10 for the Gyrocopter. But it looks like instead of going for the Roshan, Dignitas are going to opt for the tier 1 on the bottom lane. It's a safer bet. They got the tier 1 tower, and if we look at the graphs, they're going to be looking mighty even about now, with all the momentum in the world going to Dignitas, as they've just been more successful in these team fights. You can see, look at this, 7,000, almost 7,500 experience, just swinging right back because of these most recent team fights. And if you're to Denial, you need a gem. I mean, I don't think there's an excuse not to have one. There's been a lot of sentries in play, but Moonlight Shadow cannot be the amazing initiation tool it was in that instance. Even though there were sentries down, it somehow flustered Denial. You got to prevent that from happening if you can. Meanwhile, Snaking rotating up towards the top rune's got to find off an illusion here. He has his 4-staff completed, so 26 minutes, 4-staff mech. Not exactly where we thought he would be considering his early start, but way too sexy on the Visage. 7, 3, and 6. Visage always finds the kills. He gets his Aghanim Scepter, and this is really big for them. Picking off some of these supports between Misko and Masuko, having the 3 familiars to do so, and level 11 familiars at that from the Visage is going to be amazing. Now Ewo is going to get hit by Nyx Nike's bomb, rotating in here. Maybe going to find him. It spots off a creep first. Ewo just barely juking. Continues to juke. Blinked on. They pop out. Ewo is going to die. He pops out the BKB. He's going to live. And now Fog just has to try and retreat. Will they catch anybody? No, looks like everyone's going to be safe. Misko still pursuing. Has to be careful. That vacuum is there again. It caught him last time, and now a wrap. A full wrap. Jump in. Great stun. Going to catch 2. Mihawk's dead. Masuko's dead. Wall is down. Dignitas are taking this. 2 kills so far. Leap forward onto Ewo. He goes down with no BKB available. Stood no chance against the damage. Tremendous fight for Dignitas. A huge wrap for them, taking full advantage of Denial's poor positioning, and they didn't even have 2 of their heroes there either. They're battling right near a tier 2. It's not that hard to respond to. Now they lose that tier 2, and it's just really a lack of communication, a lack of focus, and overall a mistake from Denial. And they're letting this game get away from them really quickly. Really quickly. Murata's going to go for a Desolator. She knows it's late. Universe knows it's late, is going to go straight for the damage. At this point, that's the right decision. He can stay on the outskirts of the battle pretty effectively. This Roche is dropping really fast as well. Lifesteal is going to get an Aegis. Let's see, there's a dust on the ground. Visage gets a free dust. We saw the Blink Dagger on Nyx Assassin in the last fight. He also has a gem now. So gem is going to help against Smash with his invisibility, of course. It's also going to help them deward a little bit. They can use the familiars. They could really get rid of some of this vision, but they haven't looked for it quite yet. Visage also picks up Ghost Scepter. So this Visage is huge. I mean, let's look at his net worth. It shows us he's at 6,800, now 6,900. He's only 1,600 behind the Lone Druid. And Lone Druid's a hero I really haven't kept up with on items. He's 1 in 4, but if we check out his bear, who's off in the jungle, he does have a Radiance. He picked up the Midas earlier, I remember that now, but the Radiance had to be much later, I'd assume. Otherwise, his farm should be doing better. Radiance, of course, being a really strong farm catalyst, but also pretty effective in these team fights. I mean, if he can keep off the blink from the Nyx Assassin, that could be beneficial. It's also going to deal some damage to these low health heroes. There aren't really any particularly low health heroes in the field anymore. Nyx Assassin is the one, but Spike Carapace makes him relatively tanky. Top tier 2 is going to go down, and they're going to keep marching towards the base, it seems. This is a attempted gank from Denial into the Radiant jungle, seeing if they can find anybody off here alone, but it's turned into them just creeping. Dignitas have found their form. They're looking the superior team right now in game 1. They're going to go on the bear, and this bear's going to drop. That's 300 gold for Fogged. And now bear is going to be on cooldown for 44 seconds. A huge opening for Dignitas here. With that bear out of play, Lone Druid is entirely ineffective. AUI gets stunned off by the Dragon Tail. He's going to get followed up with a Dual Breath. Still has an Aegis, mind you. He's going to open up on Smash. Smash taking a lot of damage here. They're going to use the vacuum before Smash can get off a BKB. AUI gets hit by the Ice Path, though. He will deal in as much damage as he can. You can see some of the back-end supports taking damage from that flat cannon, but Gyrocopter doesn't have that real heavy-hitting damage on him yet, so he's struggling to output that huge defensive source of damage. The arrow's going to fly. It's not going to hit anyone. Universe does have the Death Zone play, so he's dealing a good chunk. Misko gets caught up by a stun here. Soul Ascension flies in. A couple more hits would do the job. Familiar's going to try and clean it up, but we do see 2 kills coming out for Dragon Knight. Fog goes down. Way Too Sexy goes down. In the middle fight, Smash trying to stand strong. He's going to die, though. Arrow flies in. Snaking gets caught. Misko with the arrow on the Rubik is going to land him a kill. Misko is really low on health. We're going to see the respawn, and momentarily, Arrow flies in on top of Smash. AUI caught by the Ice Path. He's stuck with nowhere to go. He does have an Infest. It's just going to go in one of the range creeps, and he'll likely survive here. You can see Mihawk low on health, Misko low on health. But I suppose a relatively good tower defense. They lose their tier 3, but they end up trading, and they get Dragon Knight to buy back. I'd still say that fight in favor of Dignitas, but Denial doing a decent job of preventing them from breaking in there, considering they didn't have the bear, too, for the beginning of that fight. Definitely did a pretty good job of defense there. And now they really just need Gyrocopter to go for it's Divine Rapier time. There's games where you question it, and you're like, oh, maybe Gyro will go for Divine Rapier. That sounds like a good idea, yay. But no, this game, he's going for Divine Rapier. It's that time. Fox is going to come up with a stun, and oh me, oh my, the pauses. Really inopportune. You can see quite the time to pause as Smash is lifted up in the air. Is the gem still in play? Do they even know they hit Smash with a stun? It looks like there's no gem on these heroes. There is a dust. I don't see any sentries around here. So this stun doesn't follow through. I can't tell what the angle is of it, really. It might hit a second hero here. If it hits Gyrocopter, this could be huge. If it only hits Smash and they don't have vision on him, then it could be nothing, really. It's a good opportunity for me to thank you for tuning in. I'm NY John. This is the American Dota League. And, of course, thank you very much for supporting the ADL throughout the entirety of its season. You can continue to support it by following at American Dota on Twitter, also buying a ticket for $5 in client. This is the final match of the season, but that shouldn't stop you from supporting what you love. American Dota, Dignitas versus Denial. It's a down and dirty match right now. 21-20. We've seen mishaps on both sides. And despite the fact that Dignitas have definitely taken an advantage, you can see it on the goal graph, you can see it on the experience graph, Denial are still in this, and Ewocopter is still in this. The stun does hit Misko. Call down is going to be there, but Misko is going to drop, certainly. And if they had vision, maybe Smash would have dropped as well, but that gem was lost last time. But the stun on the jump forward from Fogged again. Fogged Dota trying to carry Dignitas to victory here. But no follow-up that time. He's way too far ahead from his team. There was no arrow from Universe to try and catch it. Could have thrown one of those miraculous arrows, but it wasn't there. AUI is farming the jungle. He has a Basher, as well as Sanjin Yasha. So probably going to go towards an Abyssal next. Be a nice pickup for him. You can see he has taken number 1 in our net worth graph. 13,000 gold, 12,500 or so on the Dragonite, and 11,000 on the Gyrocopter. But the initiation in the base, Masuko's caught. He's dead. Smash is taking a lot of damage here. He's almost going down, but it retreats under his own tower instead. Misko's the new target. One more hit will take him. There's the hit from the familiars. 2 are down. Both of the supports dead from denial. Going to make it that much harder to defend this base. Now an Infest onto Fog Dota. He's going to try and jump on somebody. Do they have vision in the base? No, they don't have uphill vision. They're going to try and push out one of these lanes. Middle lane is probably the easier target because top lane's all the way by the river. And he creeps in the base, So they're going to rotate in here towards the middle lane. There's a Force Staff on Fogged as well, so he is mighty fast little bug. Let's see the bears here. They've done a good job of targeting the bear, which often goes unnoticed and underappreciated in games because the bear is so important. And ever since he got that nerf where he gives up 300 gold, it really is worthwhile to take him down. And Dignitas now on the verge. Oh, well, everyone's back up for denial. They can put up a formidable defense, one would assume. I do see 3,200 gold in the Gyrocopter. He has to be working towards a Rapier. But I'm not even sure a naked Rapier can save them as much because of the single target damage coming out from Lifestealer. He would probably need an Aegis. That's 4 minutes until it comes up, and it's a whole lot of hassle for Denial to try and win a Roche fight right now. Here we go, then pushing towards the base. Tier 3 tower, taking some damage from the Familiars. Familiars looked like they were attacking through the Ice Path there. I think it's because they're immune to magics. We do see the push now starting. Click on Universe, see what else he has. He picks up a Sanj at the back end of his Deso. So pretty solid. I mean, these are items you'd expect him to have probably 27 minutes. But he's come back from a poor start. That's what counts. This melee barracks taking a lot of damage, dropping pretty quickly. Arrow's going to come out, hit the bear. Follow-up stun is going to hit 2. Vacuum's going to pull everybody, and BKB's popped all around the world. And now a couple of... Moo. Almost taking down AUI in the middle of that. I was going to say a couple of Ghost Scepters popped as well, but AUI taking a lot of damage. Had to use his Infest, and now the Dual Breath and the Ice Path take him low once again. This is risky play, but they do get the melee barracks. There was no follow-up engage, and it's not going to be a Divine Rapier from Ewo. He picks up an Eagle Horn instead. Curious decision. Arrow flies, it catches Fog. Fogged invisible, still spotted off. There's a Soul Assumption. Mihawk's getting pretty low on health. AUI working through the Ice Path with the Rage active. He's going to get the kill there. Universe going to turn around, put an auto attack on Smash. Smash now slowed by the Grave Chill. Turns around on top of Snaking. Snaking going to go down. In jumps Fog, but he jumps to his death. Universe gets caught by an Ice Path. He's going to die. Next target, way too sexy, pops off his Ghost Scepter. He's trying to retreat here. Rocket Barrage dealing a little bit of damage where it can. AUI comes back in on top of Misko. Misko's taking a lot of damage. He's looking low. Ice Path flies and catches AUI, and the Ice Path is king in this fight. Masuko making that fight happen for Denial, and a huge fight at that. I mean, 4 cleanup kills. They do lose the melee barracks, which is devastating, but pretty tremendous result there. And it looked like Dignitas couldn't decide if they wanted to disengage or if they wanted to turn around and fight, and that often does hurt teams. Kind of like my feelings have been hurt by Ewo, not going for the Rapier. I mean, honestly, he's got to be kicking himself now. That result sets them up for pretty timely Roshan. Rosh is going to respawn in 1.5 minutes. They can definitely set it up. They have plenty of time to ward, throw down vision. Because of the heroes that are downed, they will be alive by the time Rosh is back. I think the winner of this next Rosh is going to be looking pretty good in this match. but it's hard to really decipher because these defenses have been looking pretty well for Denial. I mean, as a turtling team, Ice Path is a long-range disable. It's definitely beneficial. Call Down's a really good ability. And it looks like there's more late game on the side of Denial between the Gyrocopter, and I'd say the Lone Druid. He doesn't go late that well, but he might go late a little bit better than something like a Mirana, really. Mirana needs probably a 2-item jump, 1.5 item jump to be more effective. He does pick up his Chrysalis though, so his damage is getting up there. And now here's an Infest Bomb. They're going to try and fight and then maybe get this Roche. They're wrapping. Oh, smoked on both sides. They're passing each other. Pings come off. And there's no engage. A sentry was placed down from Denial. Now they're in the middle lane, and now Denial had the opportunity to try and engage here. Can they find what they want? Coming in from the side. We're looking for gems. There's a gem on Masuko and a gem on... Nope, he's the only one right now. Thinking about coming into low ground. Fog still has that infest inside of him. It's a Nyx Nyx bomb. Classic. Classic Dota. And here's the jump into the pit. They know they're there though. Perfect opportunity to engage with a call down. There's the Ice Path from the high ground. Catches two. They jump in from Smash. He goes into Dragon Form. AUI chipping away at him. But it's a pretty even battle. AUI now losing out on that battle. He's trying to back up as far as he can. We see there's one casualty. It is the Nyx Assassin so far. Snaking's able to surge himself away. But they're able to take down the Lifestealer as well. And the Nile have clawed their way back into this match. Back and forth we go. And they have to leave the pit because of the buyback. Arrow's flying, though. It's going to catch the bear. Nope. Nope, it doesn't. Not quite. And you can see the power of a Dragonite versus a Lifestealer. Having that blue dragon form. Just able to kite him so effectively. The Butterfly is up for Gyrocopter as well. So another good item to have against these single target heroes. Lifestealer and Mirana are the only real threats to his health. And they jump into the Roche pit, and they're going to get it really quick. And this is a huge blunder for Dignitas because they did spend the money to buy back. It was an expensive buyback on Lifestealer, 1,200 gold or so. I mean, he's almost sitting at a 3-item Lifestealer at 40 minutes. Definitely not up to his own standards for AUI 2000 right now. The range barracks does drop on the top lane for Denial, but it's not really that big of a deal. And there's a good split push option in the Mirana, but the way the fights have been going, if she tries to split push and Denial in hard engage, I'm not sure it's going to end too pretty. But it's going to take a lot of decisive action from Denial. And this is an opportunity now with this lane constantly pushing for Dignitas for them to try and pick off one of these heroes that has to come out here and fend off the super creeps. But the Nyx Nyx bombs just haven't been panning out for them as of late. And that engage on Roche was definitely aggressive. They had no vision on Denial's. Denial were camped out in this area over here, waiting for something to happen. They moved over to the high ground. They watched the movement of Dignitas. And we talked about Dignitas winning the vision battle earlier. Well, it's definitely on Denial's side right now. You can see, look at this middle lane vision. Sure, there's nothing by the Roche pit, but they're able to spot them off by good placement of sentries, and they're able to see this lane presence. So I really like that ward placement. And on the Radiant side, there's not much across the map, really. There's one towards the Ancients, but it won't catch the smoke because there's no sentry accompanying it. And that's how Denial are able to move so freely. And it looks like Denial are going to opt to just push out the top lane. So this is the opportune time for Mirana to split push as best she can. She's going to be joined by a couple of familiars. They're going to charge up the middle lane. They don't want to take a head-on fight right now. It is hard to fight uphill against the Darkseer. That's 100% confirmed by everyone that's ever played Dota. But there are BKBs in play, so that should alleviate some of the pain. But it looks like either way, Denial aren't willing to risk it or trade. There's still tier 2s up across the board for Dignitas, so it's definitely difficult to push. They're going to need to win another team fight wherever they can. Smash Invisible. Looks like he got chain stunned by a couple of the familiars as their stuns are on cooldown. Maybe tried to kill him off. Lag call. So we'll do our ping check. See, course, looks like pretty normal pings across the board. Dignitas are playing from the same place in Vancouver, I believe, so that would explain why they're all so similar. And look at me, I'm boasting such a low ping. Masuko is like cheating. 71 ping to USD server? He's from Peru. How's he doing it? Had internet connection. Should get it for the rest of his team. I mean, they'd be looking pretty if they're all with him. A little tangent, though. Thanks for everyone that's tuning in. I'm Mel John. This is Denial Esports versus Dignitas for the third place prize in the American Dota League. Both teams have had pretty good advantages at times throughout this game, and I can get away from this missile noise. I'm going to have to go down here and look at snaking. Both teams have definitely had their opportunities, but neither one of them able to close, really. We're 42 minutes into the game, and the goal difference is only 4,000. And I'd have to say this is more surprising for Dignitas because they are the clear-cut favorites. I've said it a couple times throughout the cast. They've had a lot of success against this Denial team in the past. But Denial came out guns a-blazing, looking really solid across the board. So props to them for that, and they're making this a really difficult third place first game. This is what we like to see for this type of series. I mean, we could look at snaking. He's 0-6. I'd say this every time I see a snaking mid-dark series. It's just mid-dark series isn't that great in my opinion because he leaves the lane and he doesn't have that much impact. Dark series impact comes when he's level 11. A mid-laner wants to leave around level 8 and really just destroy something. But he doesn't actually do that. He doesn't push as hard as something like a Dragon Knight. So I don't know. I don't like him as much, but he definitely has had his struggles this game. Only 8 assists on 24 kills, so it's a third of the kills he's been involved in. If we look at our kill chart, we can see that leading the way is Way Too Sexy. He's 9-4 and 9. Tremendous play on that Visage, like always. I think I mentioned once to Mott, everyone acknowledges Fluff and stuff as one of the best Visages, and for good reason. But Way Too Sexy's up there. I mean, his play on the hero is masterful as well. So you got to give props to him. You see 8-2 on Smash. So Smash having a tremendous game on that Dragon Knight. And you can see in the middle of the team fights, Lifesteal's just having a tough time manning up on that Dragon Knight. It's a tough target to focus on as well, but you know, you have to kill him eventually. Lifesteal is 6-3 though. He's had a good time this game. 7-4 in the Gyrocopter. And those are really the notable scores. Resume is here. We're back in play. Bottom lane, pop off an Iron Shell. Snaking is going to farm. That missile noise should be gone now, so I'm safe to look at the Dire team. We'll see how late Dignitas want to take this. I mean, the ball's in their court. They have the racks down. They can be passive from here on out and try and take full advantage of Denial, trying to make them into the aggressors. But how confident are they against the late game Gyrocopter? It's a pretty scary thing, and just having the Dragon Knight to be there to slow down the Lifestealer makes it so hard for Lifestealer to get his full damage onto the Gyrocopter. It's a nice team fight setup. That's why a lot of teams nowadays are loving the Dragon Knight as a secondary carry. He does a lot in the middle of the fights, and he's tough to cope with as he jumps on Universe. Universe is downed immediately. He has buyback gold, though. He's going to have to spend that right now as the middle tier 3 is taking damage. Dignitas on their back foot. Game 1 of the best of 5 for third place. Dignitas versus Denial. The tower's going down. Engage is heavy, though. The vacuum on everybody. And Denial, the Aegis is popped. We see another kill going down. Gyrocopter's going to have to come back. Buyback is in play from Universe. It's a little bit late, though. Masuko is taking some extra damage. He's still surviving. Lifestealer has died in the middle of all that chaos. Nyx Assassin has died as well. And somehow Denial are coming out ahead. They now are free to focus on the racks. Smash does walk into the wall, and we'll have to deal with his own illusion now. But instead, he's going to walk back out through the wall. And the Bear is going to casually walk in and try and conquer this racks. There is buyback gold. Oh, but the cooldown is in play. 1 minute until it's up for Lifestealer. And just like that, Rax is taken. The jump in from Universe, but he's not going to get it. The Familiars will clean it up. He's still going to die for the second time in this fight, but they do get a secondary kill. Dragon Knight is now dead. Ewo is dead on that Gyrocopter, and Mihawk's going to have to TP out, but it gets interrupted by the Familiar. And there's the play from Visage. Snaking gets another kill, and they somehow managed to turn it around again. And it wasn't a clean disengage after taking down the melee barracks. They had no business staying there. Good play from Snaking, and now he has his Scythe of Vice. Huge item pickup for him. The major concern, though, is Mirana needing more items than some of these carries to be as effective as them. Buying back, dying twice. She's not going to be near that. She's not going to be near the Daedalus for a while. Probably, I mean, it's hard to really estimate because she's going to need a couple of really good team fights. But either way, they were able to take down a lot of the carries. It was a good amount of gold for Snaking. He has a Scythe of Vice now for extra control. You can see Gyrocopter still doesn't have all that many items considering it's 45 minutes into the game. Dragonite is beefy. He has the AC, the BKB, and the Shadow Blade. Being able to take those two down for a while, pretty good, but there's not really a response here. This has got to be a bluff. I mean, they're respawning in 7 seconds. This is looking murky. Looking murky for Dignitas. I would not walk into that base. They didn't do it, though. Dignitas not afraid. Ice Path flies and catches AUI. And they're going to each pop off their rage and be really angry with each other. And they back off. They won't actually press into the base. That tier 3 is really low. So you understand them just wanting to poke it down a little bit and try and actually conquer it. But once again, Dignitas are going to play the aggressor. They just lost the Rax. They want an instant response. Surge on Fog. No, thank you. I'm just going to stand here. Yeah, Snaking. Excuse you. But there's a Nyx Nyx bomb in play. They're going to look for this engage. Here it is. Mizco's jumping forward. The counter engage from Fog. Infest out. Ice Path has fallen. They hit the ground with the call down. AUI's taking a good amount of damage. He gets entangled and rooted up. AUI's focused now. He's got to go down. His buyback should be available, though now, as you saw the timer before, yes, it is. It's going to be in play. Universe, though, gets caught again. His buyback is not available. Snaking's the next target. He's trying to run out of here. He's safe for the moment. Smash is catching up. He's popped off his Shadow Blade. Way too sexy trying to TP out. He is going to do so safely. Good juke from him into the tree line. And another one team fight for Denial on the back end of over-aggression from Dignitas. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Just pushing out that middle lane too hard. We've seen the 5-on fights go for Denial time and time again. Dignitas really thrive in those response fights that are more scattered. It's not actually cohesive. It's uglier. Guerrilla warfare, if you will. But they're still trying. And now Gyrocopter with 4,700 gold in the bank. What could he be thinking of next? He's pushing out the bottom lane, though. Snaking pokes his head forward. He's going to take a little bit of damage for doing so. Tower's going to be the focus. Smash standing invisible behind him. In comes Fog. The BKB's pop from both sides. Counter engage on Fog. He's dead. 3 are down right now for Dignitas with AUI coming up in 4 seconds. The tower goes down, and the Rax is going to drop as well. And that's going to be the second Rax. 1.5 Raxes, really, for Denial right now, as they somehow made their way back into this game after really bringing Dignitas back into it themselves. Bear's going to get caught off here. He's going to get killed. Mihawk has a respawn available, though, so it's not as devastating. It's still 300 gold. You don't want to give up. Here's an engage yet again. Snaking gets caught off. Snaking's going to die. Snaking has to buy back. He doesn't have enough money to buy back. This could be it. They don't have the wall. They don't have the vacuum because he is dead. And how many times have we seen him get caught this game? Many. And Denial, the underdog story, looking to really make a splash in game 1. Taking the fight to Dignitas. Arrow flies. Tier 4 is being targeted. Throne towers are now in jeopardy. And there needs to be a hard engage here. Nyx Nyx bomb, maybe. There's no Infest available. Second Bear's going to die, though. Mihawk really poorly managing that. And that's an unnecessary mistake, an unforced error. Smash is going to turn around. He's going to go on top of AUI. He actually gets stunned off, though, by Universe. He's dropping pretty low. Smash is going to die here. AUI is still surviving. Mihawk with no bear. All he can do is claw people. Way too sexy. He gets caught out of the base. Ice Path's going to fly. It's not going to hit on him. Here's the jump forward. Misko's going to hit him with telekinesis. Tossing backward. Way too sexy is going to drop. Mihawk pops off his Ghost Scepter to stay alive as AUI jumped on him. Buyback flies across the boards. There's still a tier 2 on top lane, so that's the reason why Denial couldn't rotate up and go for the final Rax. But the tier 4s have been taken down, and the throne is exposed. See, our kind little Roche reminder is going to tell us that he respawns in 26 seconds. So certainly could be a fallback Roche and Cheese for the win for Denial, and cannot give them enough credit for how they played in this game, considering they really dug themselves into a hole around that 20-minute mark, giving away unnecessary deaths, getting picked off time and time again. That is exactly what Dignitas' lineup wants to do. Any lineup with a Mirana, Nyx Assassin, they want to pick targets off, and they wanted ideally to end this game earlier. Well, they have the lifestealer to go late. This is a mid-game lineup, really, from Dignitas, and that's what they tried to do, and they just couldn't find it, as Denial responded so well. Now we're going to see a huge Roche fight. This could finally be the game-determining Roche. Blink out immediately. AUI in the middle of the fight gets entangled right off the bat, but Smash is taking a lot of damage. Smash, lift onto AUI, is going to toss him back into the middle. Smash is going to go invis and try and make his way out. AUI is going to go ahead and infest. He's staying alive. Darkseer gets a kill. Mirana gets a kill. There's a second kill for Mirana and another kill for Darkseer. Flora dead for Denial. Jakiro, the last man standing in the Aegis, is going to be claimed from Dignitas. And it's not over yet. It's not over yet. The battle for third place is so intense. And they have to TP home to protect the throne, as two lanes of super creeps are pushing into their base constantly. But this gives them at least an all-in attempt. Unless they lose the Aegis right now. That would be sad. But they won't. AUI gets back into the well. And snaking. This throne's going to take a whole lot of damage. Here's another TP coming in. It's going to be Mirana this time. They don't have the AoE damage to deal with this, really. They have Ion Shell, and that's about it. Snaking gets caught in the middle here. This is the hard mode PvE coming out from Dignitas right now. But they're surviving. Now, once the waves are cut back to one wave, they can push them out pretty securely. And I think they have one attempt at an all-in all likelihood. There's a lot of pressure coming their way. It's going to be difficult to push out both lanes at the same time without giving Denial an opportunity to bring one of the other lanes forward. So we'll see what they have in mind here. Mirana does have the cheese. You could see, this is what I was talking about before, with these buybacks flying out, only managing to get a Manta Cell. These are, across the board, these are not 52-minute items. That's how chaotic this game has been. I'm still disappointed Iwa didn't go for Divine Rapier. It probably would have been a bad choice looking at how things are going now, but I'm allowed to be disappointed. Mid lane's being pushed. Snaking has Boots of Travel, so he can make his way up to the mid lane. He does not have buyback, though. I think he may have bought back, and that's why he spent the money. I'm not sure. We can check, though. Nope, we're not going to check because there's an engage. We see Smash getting cut out here. He pops into the invis. He pops out to BKB. Still taking a whole lot of damage. AUI is not giving up. He's going to have to invest into a creep, though, as he doesn't want to get counter-engaged on. But meanwhile, the rest of his team's taking a whole lot of hurt in Gyrocopter with 2 kills. The Darkseer and Nyx Assassin both dead. AUI pops out of the infest. Tries to get it going in the middle of the fight, but it's getting chain stunned. He's going to drop for the first time. On the back end, we see Masuko and Smash dealing with the wall. Getting hurt pretty heavily. AUI now left alone, stranded. He's going to die. And the all-in does not work. GG call from Dignitas. And Denial, having struggled against Dignitas in almost all of their previous matches, find one of their first victories, definitely the first victory against them that I've witnessed, in tremendous, amazing, viewer-favorable fashion. And all of you crazy gamblers out there, you're worshiping your Peruvian team as they're able to get the first of what's going to require 3 wins to win the series against Dignitas. I'm just going to wait for the throne to pop. It should be momentarily as disconnects have flown out here. The console command isn't in play. Tremendous victory from Denial. And let's look at the graphs before it takes it away from me. 10,000 gold. It's still not that big of a margin. You never see a game end at this low of a margin this late, 53 minutes in, really. And Denial really bringing the fight to Dignitas. I mean, the only reason Dignitas were in this game at a certain point was because of Denial's mistakes, but their early game looked tremendous. I don't know how Dignitas didn't punish that bottom lane. It was odd-numbered in favor of them for quite some time, so I'm going to say questionable play from Dig and see if they can respond in Game 2. I want to thank everyone that's tuned in. Denial Esports take down Game 1 against Dignitas. It's a best of 5. We still have at least 2 more games to go, maybe 4 more. So be sure to stay tuned. I'm MY John. This is the American Dota League. Follow at American Dota on Twitter. Purchase up an in-game ticket for only $5 to watch in brilliant HD and also hear my voice in-game. And also follow me at MY John TV on Twitter. It would be greatly appreciated. We'll have the next game coming for you as soon as it's available. Hope you're enjoying yourself right now. Be sure to stick with us. See you soon.